Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are all welcome to today's episode in which we read together Al-Ummatu wal-Hukuma from the book Izzatul Nashi'in. As we said, we are going to be reading just three topics from the book to just mark the independence celebration of the Republic of Ghana, which was on the 6th of March yesterday, where we read Al-Hurriya, independence, and today we are reading Al-Ummatu wal-Hukuma, the people and the government. Tomorrow we'll be reading Al-Wataniya, which will be nationalism. Very important topic, central to the idea of independence. So Al-Ummatu wal-Hukumatu for today, the people and the government. He says, Sha'nul Umami, Sha'nul Afrad, opens it up with a very profound statement. The similitude of nations is just like that of people. He compares people to nations. Nations among each other is just like peoples among each other. Says فالفرد المعتمد على غيره ليكفيه ما يحتاج إليه هو فرد ساقط سافل ضعيف. Says a person that depends on another so that the person suffices him of whatever he needs. If you need anything, you need to call on another person, then you are a fardun sakitun, you are a very lowly person, safilun, not really intellectually right, yani you are dumb, you are slow, da'ifun, and weak. He says, فَكَذَلِكَ الْأُمَّةُ الَّتِي لَا تُعْنِي بِشُؤُونِ نَفْسِهَا. Such is the similitude of a nation that doesn't take care of its own affairs. وَلَا تَسْعَى فِي سَبِيلِ الْجِدِّ. It doesn't also strive in the path of hard work. لِتَنَالَ قَصَبَ السَّبْكِ. So that it gains the pole of the winners. Let's connect. قَصَبَ السَّبْكِ is an expression. You know, when you are racing, I don't know for now, but when you are racing, we used to see that the first person, when he gets to the ending point, there is a pole. When you get there, you take the pole, and that shows that you are the winner. That is what we call the qasab al-sabq. So he says that nation that does not strive, work hard to take care of its own affairs, it doesn't work hard so that it gains that front seat. Here, ummatun munhattatun safilatun is a nation that has fallen and is also safila, yani it is a dumb nation. Says laysat min al-hurriyati fi shay. You see how it is connected to the previous topic that we did. Such a nation has nothing on independence, has nothing connected to being free. بل هي مقيدة بسلاسل العبودية. Such a nation is tied by the chains of slavery. جميل. Says الحكومة تريد من الأمة أن تكون قيد أوامرها. The government wants the people to be at its beck and call. The government wants it that whenever those in authority, they wanted that whenever they say go, you are going. Whenever they say come, you are coming. لا تحيد عن خطتها التي ترسمها لها. The government doesn't want the people to go off the plan that it has drawn for it. So when the government wants to program us in a way, it doesn't want us to go off that path. It says قدر شبر, even to the level of an inch. The government wants to draw a line for you. It wants you to be on that line. It doesn't want you to go off that line, even an inch mark. It says فإن لجأت الأمة إلى الحكومة وطلبت مؤونتها في كل أمر من أمورها فلا بد أن تقيد نفسها بقيودها. It says if the nation, the people, goes back to the government in every other thing, and this is very practical with us. Cleanliness in our communities, we can do it. But the list of cleanliness, we are calling on the government. What we will eat, every little thing, every petty thing, you find us calling on the government. He says that such a people, when everything you need must be the government doing, then you have tied yourself with the chains of the government. It says وتجري في حياتها الاجتماعية والعلمية حسب رغائبها. And in the social life and intellectual life of the people, they are they are running the path of the government. You have to do what pleases the government. This is where you find intellectuals. You are expecting them to be objective, but then already their sustenance and everything is on the government, and so they cannot do much as just please the government. It says ولا ريب أن الحكومة إنما تكون إنما تكون رجالا يصلحون لخدمتها. The government, what it does, it forms or it creates people that are good for serving it. So you find somebody become very big, but they are not free because they were made by the government. Either somebody in power gave them job, somebody in power gave them scholarship to go and study, somebody in power actually made sure they had their PhD and all that. So when this happens, and all of us, we are victims of this, you find only a few that are free from these chains. So he's telling us the moment this happens, then you are being made by the authority to serve it. And then he says, لا رجالا يصلحون لأن يقوموا بما يحتاج إليه الأمة. The government doesn't create people that are that will stand up to do what the nation or the people need. The government doesn't create such people. He says, وَإِنَّ بَغَى في مدارسها أو مصالحها رجال شعبيون وذلك قليل نادر فهم ممن تعلموا الحياة الاجتماعية الوطنية من بيئتهم. He says, if you find that a people have risen or someone has risen in the government schools or in the government settings, then you find such people are popular, yani socially, they are serving the society. Of course, we find such people among us, particularly in Ghana, not to mention names, but we have people that are for the people. They are in authority, they are out of the same system that we are all out of, but then they are serving the people. Such people, he says that ذَلِكَ قَلِيلٌ نَادِرٌ, that is a very rare few. Says فهم ممن تعلموا الحياة الاجتماعية الوطنية من بيئتهم لا من أساتذتهم. These people that you find them doing good to the people or doing good by the people, these people, they learned social, nationalistic life. They learned it from their society. Where they were growing up, they saw some hardship they wanted to alleviate. They saw some poverty they wanted to take out. They saw something going on, dirty, uncleanness and stuff that it's nurtured them. It's conditioned them to want to take that thing out. Says لا من أساتذتهم, they didn't learn this directly from their teachers. ولا من الكتب التي وضعت لتعليمهم, neither did they learn this from the books that were made for their education. They learned these things from their society, either from the home, either from some elderly in the society, either from what they see in the society, but not the teachers, not the books the system has written to nurture them. And then he says, فإذا أردنا أن نكون, if you want to be أمة صالحة راقية, you want to be a righteous, upright nation that is rising up, فعلينا أن نسعى لترقية الأمة من طريق الأمة, then we must strive towards raising the ummah up or building the level of the ummah up by raising the people through the people themselves. Yani, you raise the people through they themselves. You help the people through they themselves, not through the government. Yani, we see a lot of initiatives like in Ghana. You see the people like bus stop boys doing very amazing with cleanliness. Now they even moved in such a manner that government is rather the one following them to do a lot of stuff. The government institutions are rather the ones following them. Now, if they had sat down waiting for the government to come and clean every little vicinity that we have, then we wouldn't have been here. So if we want to be like that kind of ummah, then we must strive towards raising the ummah through the ummah themselves. La min tariqil hukuma, not through the government. You don't help the people to rise to the standard that they want through the government, but you do that through the people themselves. So if you want to help the people, you have to conscientize the people. You have to train the people to know that they need help and they must grow. Jamil. And then he says, بما نبذله من الهمة في تلك السبيل, with the effort and enthusiasm that we exert in that particular part. كما هي الحال في الأمم المتمدنة اليوم, as it is the case of civilized nations today. You see nations that are now civilized and big, it is through initiatives of the citizens. You find that the citizens strive towards building a particular thing, then the nation adopts it. Gradually, somebody will build something. It goes like that until now you find the whole nation being as big as we see them to be. And then he says, فإن هذه الأمم تؤسس المدارس وتنشئ المعامل والمصانع من غير أن تطلب من حكوماتها أن تمد إليها يد المؤونة ولو فعلت ذلك لظلت متأخرة كما ظللنا. He says these nations that we are seeing, you find them building factories, معامل, مصانع, you find them building industries without requesting from their government anything. They build it themselves without stretching their hand to the government for help. And even if they do, ولو فعلت, if they had done that, then you would have found them being late in civilization, being late in growth as we have become. He says Zalalna. I don't think he's referring to us. He would have perhaps been referring to Lebanon, where he was born, Lebanon, I think. And also, I think he was born and he died there as well. But he studied in Egypt in the course of his studies. Perhaps he's speaking with Egypt or he's speaking with Beirut, Lebanon, where he was born. But it matches perfect with us. And then he says, أي أمة أو أية أمة اعتمدت في إنجاح مقاصدها على الحكومة فهي آلة عليها مغلولة بأغلالها. Very profound one. He says every nation, every people that depends on their government in succeeding in every little thing they do, then these particular people, they are alatun alayha, they become dependents or they become a burden on the government. Maglulatun bi aglaliha, chained by the chains of the government. The moment you need the government for everything, you become chained by the government. ومتى كانت الأمة مقيدة محتاجة إلى غيرها فليست بأمة حرة. And whenever you find the people in need of others, when the nation becomes in need of others, then it is not ummatin hurriyatin. It is not hurratin. It is not a free nation. They are not a free people. وإذا كانت غير حرة, and if it is not free, فمن أين لها أن ترقى? Then how will it rise? How will it develop? وأنى لها أن تنهض? Then where will it find renaissance? Yani how will it rise and face the civilization of today? And he says, الحكومة جزء من الأمة اختص بأعمال خاصة. The government is a part of the people that have been given a special function. وهو يستمد دائما قوتها منها. And you find that the people are taking its strength, or you find that this juzu, the huwa referring to the juzu, he's talking about the hukuma, but because he has already said al hukuma to juz'un, the pronoun huwa refers back to the juz'un. And this juz'un yastamiddu da'iman quwwataha minha ay min al ummah. These few people that have been given some special function as government, they source their strength from the people. وعليها يعتمد في كل شأن من الشؤون, and it depends on it in everything. لأن القليل يعتمد على الكثير, because the few depends on the lot. The government can never be bigger than the people. And so that's why whenever you see in any country when the people rise against the government at the end of the day will fall, no matter how strong it is. And then he says, لأن القليل يعتمد على الكثير, because the few depends on the more. وما سمعنا أن كثيرا اعتمد على قليل إلا إذا كان ضعيفا خاملا جبانا. And we've never heard that a lot is dependent on the few, except when the lot is described as weak, is described as dormant, خاملا, is described as coward, then you find the lot depending on the few. It says, إن أرادت الأمة أن تكون لها حكومة صالحة راقية فعليها أن تصلح هي أولا. If the nation, the people want to have a good government, then the people themselves must correct themselves. Because the حكومة is جزء من الشعب أو جزء من الأمة. وتنهض للأخذ بأسباب الترقي والفلاح حتى إذا ما صلحت ترقت معها الحكومة. And the people must hold on to all factors of rising up and becoming something worthy. In that case, when they do that, then when they become good themselves and they rise up, the government rises with them because the government is a part of them. لأن الجزء تابع للكل, because if the few follows the whole, the subset follows the whole set. ولأن الحكومة هي صورة لأن الحكومة هي صورة الأمة ومرآتها, because the government is the image of the people and it is its mirror. Yani the government mirrors the people. Now when you see a bad government, know that the people are also bad. When you see a good government, know that the people are good because the government comes from the people. فإن كانت الأمة صالحة فهي صالحة والعكس بالعكس. If the ummah, then people are good, then the government is also good, and the opposite is true. فلو فرضنا صلاح الحكومة وفساد الأمة لا تلبس الحكومة. He said, even when we if we should just imagine that the government is good and the people are bad, لا تلبس الحكومة أن تفسد. The government it will not take long for the government to also be corrupted. If we should consider that the government is good, the people are bad, against the law that we said that فإن كانت الأمة صالحة فهي صالحة والعكس بالعكس. Against that, the government is good, but the people are bad. It will not take long for the government to also become bad. فلا تنقص هذه أن تصلح وتتبع الأمة في سيرها. You realize that the government will not take long, it will also corrupt. A good leader will come, and if the whole of the people are bad, before you realize the leader himself has been affected. It says, وخلاصة القول أن الحكومة تابعة للأمة رقيا وانحطاطا. The government is a subset of the people and follows the people in terms of rising and falling, retrogressing, in terms of moving forward and retrogressing. When the whole of the citizenry start to know what civilization is and start to grow, the government will grow with it. The force that comes to the people is always stronger. It says وَإِلْمًا وَجَهْلًا, and also in terms of intellect, if the people are growing in intellect, the government will grow. Likewise in ignorance. وَصَلَاحًا وَفَسَادًا, and also being upright and being corrupt. When the people are upright, the government will also be upright, and when the people are corrupt, the government will be corrupt. فَعَلَيْنَا أَنْ لَا نَعْتَمِدَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَنفُسِنَا. It is upon us not to depend but upon ourselves. We must depend upon ourselves. وَلَا نَعْمَلْ إِلَّا مَا نَبْذُلُهُ مِنَ الْجِدِّ وَلَا نَعْمُلَ إِلَّا مَا نَبْذُلُهُ مِنَ الْجِدِّ وَالْهِمَّةِ. And we must not hope except in what we put effort in, except in the effort that we put and the enthusiasm that we have. You must have hope in that. هذا إذا أردنا أن نكون قوما صالحين لتكون لنا حكومة صالحة. This is if you want to be people that are upright, so that we would also have a good government. So the last advice, as usual, it says فإليكم أبسط يد الرجاء أيها الناشئون أن تجعلوا هدفكم خدمة الأمة خدمة صادقة والسعي في إنجاحها وترقيتها حتى يعود إليها مجدها الداثر وشرفها الغابر. He says that he is extending his hand towards the Ummah, begging the youth that we must strive, and he's telling us that we must make our goal in serving the Ummah a good servitude, a true servitude. We must also strive to raise the image of the Ummah up, so that the Ummah, the nobility of the Ummah, or the honor of the Ummah that is gone, would come back to the Ummah. This is what he's asking of us and more. And then he says, وشرفها الغابر. So مجدها الداثر يعني the order of the ummah الداثر بمعنى it is wiped out, it is eroded. وشرفها الغابر and its honor that is gone. غابر بمعنى غبر بمعنى ذهب, it is gone. فتكون أو فتكون الحكومة تناسبها رقيا اجتماعيا وعلميا, so that the people can now form a government that matches with it in terms of moving higher, and in terms of rising socially, and in terms of rising intellectually, واقتصاديا economically, وعمرانيا, and in terms of civilization. عمران بمعنى civilization, building things, infrastructure and all that. وبذلك تكونون وطنيين حقا, and with that you become good nationalists. You see how we will build into our topic nationalism. Says حقق الله فيكم الرجاء, may Allah actualize our hopes in you. وَحَاطَكُمْ بِعِصْمَتِهِ وَتَوْفِيقِهِ, and may Allah surround you with His protection and His success. إِنَّهُ سَمِيعُ الدُّعَاء, indeed Allah is one that hears our dua a lot. This is where we end this episode. I hope we are taking the lessons as they are supposed to be taken. We've done al-hurriya, and we've seen how freedom is connected to the people and governance, al-ummatu wal-hukuma, and inshallah we've seen how we are falling into nationalism, and so our topic tomorrow will be on nationalism. As I said, the book is a very nice book. My copy is very tired, very old. There are new copies which you can find. I think there are PDFs as well. Just search Izzatul Nashin. My copy is faded. Just search Izzatul Nashin by Sheikh Mustafa Al-Ghalayini. He is the one that wrote the Durusul, I think Durus, is it a Durus fil Arabiya or Durusul? He has a book like that in Nahu, and I think it even encompasses Sarf and Balaga, very heavy book like that. So let's do well. You can find the book and read these topics. Inshallah, if I don't forget, I will even attach it with the lesson. Till we meet again tomorrow on our next lesson, which is Al-Wataniya, nationalism. Have a very good Arabic time. Have a very good time. Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah accept our fast. Till we meet again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.